This is the Insta360 X3 camera, and it is a contender for the best action camera and vlogging camera in 2022. Seriously, a lot of people are choosing this camera instead of the new GoPro Hero 11 and the DJI Osmo Action 3, and for good reason, especially since GoPro has not released a new version of their 360 camera yet. The Insta360 X3 is chock full of great features, but there are two features in particular that makes this a game changer of a 360 camera. I'll share these reasons later on in this video, and I have chapter markers down below if you want to skip around. Also, shout out to MacPaw for sponsoring this video. I'll talk more about them later on, but in case you skip out early, be sure to check out the description below for more information on their software. If we haven't met, my name is Susie, and I make gear reviews and tutorials to help you capture life moments in compact, minimalist camera setups. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing. Now, just to be clear, this video is not a comprehensive review about the X3. Plenty of those are already out there. Instead, I'm going to focus on the new features on the X3 that make it appealing to me, and also mention some features that can be improved. Now, in case you've never used a 360 camera before, here's why you might want to start using one. I don't know about you guys, but before I started using a 360 camera, my main exposure to them were to those tiny planet photos. Now, you can do the tiny world photos on the Insta360 X3, but that's just scratching the surface of what this camera is capable of. In my opinion, the real strength of 360 cameras is in the video. When you combine the invisible selfie stick with this camera, it's the best tool for solo content creators or small video teams who want to film themselves and their surroundings, but don't have a camera crew to do that. I especially love using this camera to film my small family when we're out on a walk or just playing around, because I can just put this camera on the side and edit it in post-production to either show us or our surroundings. Now, the main catch with using a 360 camera is the post-production workflow. Because you're filming everything at once, you have to spend time editing that video later to pick and choose your angles. And historically, editing 360 video has not been the most fun task, but Insta360 has really been improving their desktop app and their phone apps to make that editing less time consuming. So that's one of the reasons why Insta360 is my favorite camera company when it comes to 360 cameras. The Insta360 X3 came out in September 2022, and it's the third version of the Insta360 X-Line cameras. It's a $450 waterproof camera with some pretty big upgrades compared to previous versions. The X3 has an upgraded half-inch sensor and a larger LCD touchscreen. And guys, this touchscreen alone is a good reason to get this camera as opposed to older versions of it. It's responsive and gives you a really clear picture of what you're shooting. But it is a part of the camera that can get scratched or damaged if you're rough on it, so I always use the included neoprene case whenever I'm not using this camera. By the way, I'll be doing a video on the best accessories for the Insta360 X3, so stay tuned for that video coming soon. The X3 can also shoot in up to 5.7K in 360, which isn't new because the One X2 could also do that. But what is new is the ability to shoot in single lens mode in 4K 30 frames per second, which was previously limited to 2.7K on the One X2. Now, single lens mode is the main reason why I think the X3 is the best 360 camera. Most other 360 cameras out there only shoot in 360, and if you want to get regular non-360 videos, you have to spend time editing that footage or change out a lens mod like on the modular Insta360 One RS. With the X3, you can go from shooting a 360 video to normal video at the push of a button. It's called single lens mode, which is essentially action camera mode, and you can flip between shooting with the front-facing lens or the back-facing lens. Now, unfortunately, you can't flip between these lenses while filming. You have to stop recording, flip the lenses, and then start recording again, but honestly, it's not a huge problem. Now, I love single lens mode, and between that and 360 mode, it feels like I have two cameras in one. Another bonus of single lens mode is that the resulting video has flow state stabilization applied, and it's an MP4 format, so it's ready to go without any editing. Now, even though the video resolution didn't get much of a bump, the photo resolution did. You can now get 72 megapixel photos in 360 mode or 32 megapixel photos in single lens mode. Oh, and time-lapse mode also got a big boost. You can now shoot 8K time-lapses in 360, and the panning effects that you do in post-production are so fun. On other non-360 cameras, you would need an accessory like a slider or a panning head to achieve this kind of look. Now there's one other big reason to get the Insta360 X3, but before I get into that, let me talk more about today's sponsor. The only catch with shooting 5K and 8K video is that these video files are really big, and because you have to edit them, they take up a lot of space on your device. MacPaw is the company behind Clean My Mac X, a desktop computer app for cleaning up junk files on your Mac to optimize speed and storage. I have a 2015 MacBook Pro that I use to edit all of my videos, and because it's so old and I have very little built-in storage, I am constantly running out of space on my computer when I'm trying to edit my videos. So I regularly use Clean My Mac to free up space. The Smart Scan is the fastest and most comprehensive way to free up space, but there's also System Junk Scan and Maintenance Scans that not only get rid of unnecessary files, but they also speed up the performance of your computer. Now there is a free version of Clean My Mac if you just want to try it out, but you get the best features if you buy it. There's an annual subscription option or a one-time purchase option. So check out the description below if you want to check out Clean My Mac. Thank you, MacPaw, for sponsoring this episode. And with that, let me tell you about the second main reason why you should buy the Insta360 X3. One of the things I love about the X3 is how easy it is to toggle between the different shooting modes. And a brand new mode on this camera is Me Mode. This creates a 180-degree video in 60 frames per second with you as the subject. You have to use the invisible selfie stick and keep the camera flat to get the very best results, but the resulting video automatically keeps you in the center of the shot. There's no need to reframe the video later. Now the main downsides to Me Mode is that right now the feature is capped at 1080p, 60 frames per second, and is not available in 4K. And the file does not save as an MP4. It's a video file that has to be edited in the Insta360 editing app and then exported. But the nice thing about the editing app is that you can take your Me Mode clip and choose your preferred FOV. It can be linear, wide, or ultra wide. You are not locked into whatever FOV you selected at the time of filming. So because of how easy it is to use, I've been using Me Mode the most on the Insta360 X3, and I think it's a great new feature on this camera. Now in general, I love the Insta360 X3, and it's become my favorite camera for shooting B-roll. But there are three things that I think can be improved. One is the battery life. There's a removable 18 milliamp battery that lasts about 70 minutes. Now that's decent battery life, but it would be great if it could last a little bit longer, because buying a spare battery will run you $45 US, which is a lot of money. Next is the low light performance. Now action cameras in general are not great in low lighting, and this camera is no exception. If you have enough ambient light, then you can actually make videos that look pretty good, but if it's really dark, then the video quality really goes downhill. So like most other action cameras, the X3 is going to shine the most in bright lighting conditions. The final point is the sound, which is actually improved because the X3 now has 3 built-in mics instead of 2 mics on the X2. Makes you wonder if the X4 will have 4 built-in mics. But anyway, the sound quality is actually pretty decent as long as you're close to the camera. Alright, testing out the single lens feature. It's facing forward right now, so this is what it looks like and sounds like. But the whole point of shooting in 360 is to have the camera far away from you on your selfie stick. And whenever you do that, the audio really isn't that great. And for comparison, this is the Insta360 X3 with the internal microphones. This is what it sounds like when shooting in 360. Now luckily there is a mic adapter for adding your own external microphone, and in particular it's best to use a wireless microphone because you can retain good audio quality even if the camera is far away from you. This is a sound test with the Insta360 X3 and the Rode Wireless Go as the external microphone. This is what it sounds like. So in conclusion, the Insta360 X3 is arguably the best action camera on the market right now. I say that because when you shoot in 360 mode, you can capture your entire scene in one go and then choose your angles later in post-production. That is super efficient. And when you don't want to shoot in 360 mode, you can easily switch over to single lens mode and the X3 becomes more like a traditional GoPro. The overall usability and flexibility of the X3 is, in my opinion, unmatched at this moment. With that said, there are some downsides, including the 2 unreplaceable lenses and now a giant LCD screen that have to be protected if you plan to do hardcore action with this camera. And the spare batteries are pretty expensive, and the onboard sound is not ideal for vlogging in 360 mode. So you'll want to buy the mic adapter and a vlogging microphone if you want to vlog with this camera. So the accessories can really add up, and so you might want to budget more than $450 if you plan to get this camera. But overall, I love this camera, but I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below. What do you think about the X3? Would you buy it, or would you prefer another action camera out there instead? Let me know in the comments below, and again, stay tuned for that comparison of the X3 to the GoPro and the Osmo Action 3 coming up real soon.